Mr. Speaker, coronavirus is the most serious public health emergency that has faced the world in a century.
First flight of British nationals returned to the UK. Now those people will remain in quarantine here in the UK for about 2 weeks. And then over the weekend, another batch of British nationals flown back through a French flight to the UK, and they will also enter a period of quarantine. Over the weekend, we learned that 2 cases were confirmed positive for coronavirus here in the UK.
You must stay at home except for when accessing medical care. And must stay at home except for when accessing medical care and avoid going to work or using public transport. You should get goods like food delivered, but tell the delivery driver so that they can leave the items outside. Whilst you are at home, you should separate yourself from others by staying in a ventilated room, use a separate bathroom if possible, and avoid sharing household items like towels. If you do need to visit your doctor, you should call a...
Mr. Speaker, coronavirus is the most serious public health emergency that has faced the world in a century. We're all targets, but the disease reserves its full cruelty for the weakest and the most vulnerable. And to defeat it, we are proposing extraordinary measures of the kind never seen before in peacetime. Our goal is to protect life and to protect every part of the NHS. And this bill, jointly agreed with all 4 UK governments, gives us the power to fight the virus with everything that we've got.
Now is the time for everyone to stop non-essential contact with others and to stop all unnecessary travel. We need people to start working from home where they possibly can, and you should avoid pubs, clubs, theatres and other such social venues.
I have a responsibility to make sure that we protect as far as possible people's jobs and incomes. Today, I can announce that for the first time in our history, the government is going to step in and help to pay people's wages.
From this evening, I must give the British people a very simple instruction. You must stay at home, because the critical thing we must do to stop the disease spreading between households. That is why people will only be allowed to leave their home for the following very limited purposes: shopping for basic necessities as infrequently as possible, 1 form of exercise a day, for example, a run, walk or cycle, alone or with members of your household, any medical need to provide care or to help a vulnerable person, and travelling to and from work, but only where this is absolutely necessary and cannot be done from home. That's all.
Good afternoon. The Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has tested positive for coronavirus and is self-isolating in Downing Street.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson has tested positive to coronavirus, along with Health Secretary Matt Hancock. Mr Hancock and the Prime Minister will continue to lead the country from...
And good morning, Becky. Yes, we've had the news that's just crossed. The UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson confirming he has tested positive